Welcome to another edition of Cheers to Careers. I'm Steve Ridinghouse, the Career and Outreach Coordinator at the School of Journalism and Mass Communications at KU. Today, I am joined by Mitch George, 2019 graduate and Director of Baseball Communications at the Atlanta Braves. Mitch, thanks for joining us. I bet the last 2 weeks have been kind of crazy for you.
They have been pretty insane. First of all, no worries, but I got to correct you. I'm a coordinator instead of a director. I'm not that far down the road, but I'm a coordinator. Yeah, but yeah, no, it's been insane, absolutely insane. Yeah, so I mean, obviously, players talk about how they join in amazing circumstances, and I obviously had no clue what was going to happen. Like when I got this job, I was gonna say yes to whatever team offered me a job first, but I'm really fortunate it was the Braves because it seemed like my team, the communications team, is absolutely fantastic, and it's a great organization with a lot of great people. So just to do what I do within that kind of environment has been really cool for me to experience as my first full-time job in sports.
And talk a little bit about the timing, because you joined the Braves like in August, correct?
Yeah, August 27th was my first day, and I got the job offer about 2-3 weeks before that. So everything happened like really, really quick. They obviously wanted to fill the spot because they were doing four persons worth of work with just three people. So they wanted to get another body in the office as soon as they can. But yeah, it was incredible. So a World Series run was I don't want to say out of the question because baseball's a crazy game and a lot of things can happen, but Braves were around 500. They were kind of waffling back and forth between below 500 and above 500. And then everyone's been joking that I've been the good luck charm because right when they started, the team was since I started, they went 44-25 or something crazy that they had not had a streak like that the entire season. So, but no, obviously I'm very far removed from whatever happens on the field. So it's not anything remotely close to anything that I did, but no, it was an incredible run to be a part of. And just from a communication standpoint, there's honestly a little bit of pressure that I put on myself, and then pressure from other people to make sure that you are kind of exemplifying it in the best way possible from a communication standpoint, both with the information that you're putting out to the broadcast and the radio, and just making sure that everything, all the good things that are happening on the field, people know about them. Essentially, is what I do. So. It's been, in that regard, it was an incredible season.
And I know with your timing, Jorge Soler, the MVP of the World Series, arrived about the same time. Were you guys some sort of package deal?
We were not, contrary to popular belief, I guess. But both spent a decent amount of time in Kansas City over the past few years. But no, I was not a deal with Jorge Soler as much as I would have liked to have been.
So what was your primary role as involved in communications? The last 2 months, last 2 weeks, what was your primary responsibility?
Yeah, so in baseball communications, our primary role and what we spend a lot of time with, my bosses and the people above me, they focus a lot on, they do game notes as well, which I'll dive into a little bit in here, but they handle a lot of the media availability, like getting players to and from Zooms or media sessions with members of the media. What I do, I'm the main contact for credentials for our club. So essentially that managing the media that are in the ballpark on any given day on a daily basis. So if we're hosting the Mets, making sure all the Mets credentials are printed and ready for them to pick up when they would like to enter the ballpark, and just kind of managing who's in the ballpark on a day-to-day basis from a media perspective. And then, so I would say that's 30% to 20% of my job, but then the other portion is a lot of miscellaneous stuff, other duties as assigned that people like to say. But a lot of what I do is baseball information. So every day we put out an 8-page or 9-page release, which varies team by team based on what you want to include. But it's essentially, the best way to describe it is just almost like a daily newspaper with it doesn't have any fancy writing. It's very much matter of fact, Jorge Soler in his last 12 games is hitting .450 with 2 home runs and 7 RBI. Just that surface level stuff, but then so saying it and then putting that into context, saying the last person to do that for the Braves was Dansby Swanson in 2019, or the last major leaguer to do that was, Trey Turner last year, and just kind of just saying what is out there and what's happening on the field, but then putting that into statistical context so people understand how big of a deal that is. So, and I'm in charge of the offensive section, so I just handle everyone that's a hitter. And that's just one page, but it takes me, if we have a good offensive day the day before, it's about 4 hours worth of work every day, essentially, if that makes sense.
And I got to believe you felt pretty prepared for this moment. I know when you were at KU, you did a lot with KU baseball. I remember seeing you at games, taking photos. I think you did some like independent league Minnesota, and then I know you had an internship with the Bengals and the Twins. So you had I would imagine you felt pretty prepared for this moment.
Yeah, I did. I think truthfully, there have been people that have done a few more internships than me out there too. So I mean, it's just a matter of like getting the opportunity and just making it happen whenever you can. So I mean, that's kind of the mentality. Like obviously in those 4 years that I spent at KU, I was going to school, but then as everybody knows, a large part of journalism and a large part of the communications field is what you do outside of the classroom that prepares you for success. And I just made sure that I wasn't at any one time only doing school, but making sure I was writing for the Kansas, or I was with the baseball team, or I was doing something just outside of the classroom that filled my time, because that's just such an important part of being successful in this industry. As everyone at KU told me, and it's completely 100% the truth. So I mean, you can be a great student all you want, but you really have to take advantage of the opportunities outside of the classroom as well.
And I know a couple of those internships happened after graduation. Did you ever have any concerns about that? Because I know some students are a little hesitant to do internships. I mean, they're looking for that full-time employment. Or did you just think, I'm gonna stay committed to this? Or what was kind of your thinking with the internships after graduation?
Yeah. So personally, wanting to pursue a career in sports communications, it was not something that I was too concerned about, because it's very, very commonplace. It is incredibly rare to just come out with a degree and go into a full-time job. I think usually 2 internships is about the standard. I think almost like very few people have 1 internship and then get that full-time job. This is speaking in just baseball communications and communications in sports in general. Might be a different case with like traditional news on that side of things. But I came out with the mentality that I was going to do 2 internships, and then if I had to do a third, I was probably going to, truthfully. But after those 2 internships, I really wanted to have that full-time job, because like I was telling you, the timeline for baseball doesn't necessarily work out with the graduation schedule. So it was kind of always my plan to do an NFL internship right out of school and then a baseball internship right after that, because I assumed that being that I wanted to end up in baseball, it was unlikely that a baseball team would hire me as young as I was, having not worked in baseball. So I thought that second internship in baseball was really important to securing the full-time job when I did.
And do you think those internships are those what kind of gave you the edge for this position, you believe?
Yeah, 100%. I think if I hadn't done the internships, there's no way that I would be in this job at all. I don't think there was any chance that I would be in this position had I not either worked for the Bengals or the Twins. But I think the combination of the both is the sole reason why I'm here right now.
And I would imagine during the internships, you built some professional connections. I mean, did that come to play with the Braves, or was it pretty much just based on your internship and your experience?
Yeah, so I mean, it's a good combination of both, because it seems like 30 teams worth of communications professionals might be a big C, but it's really a close connected group full of like a lot of connections that you may not know, because like obviously we play pretty heavy within the division. Every baseball team does, but every time you play another team, you are going to have contact with the other public relations department in some way or another. So it's a really close knit group. So I mean, I don't want to say I got this job because of connection, because that's not the case, but my boss in Minnesota knew the director here with the Braves. And so it was just kind of a passing along information. They actually met at the All-Star game this last year, and my current boss just said that he was hiring for the position and asked if he had any candidates, and my boss of the Twins kind of just passed my name along. It was very much a traditional interviewing process. Like I applied for the job and all that sort of stuff. It wasn't a favor by any means or anything, but it's just it's a mix of the network. So I mean, it wasn't, like I said, a favor, but there definitely was a connection there.
So 4 years ago, I think you're covering KU baseball for the Daily Kansan, the student paper here.
I was.
At that time, did you think, hey, I'm going to be Major League Baseball communications?
It's funny. It really is funny like that. Like I think like you really don't know how possible it is to work. Like in my head, I was like, I could have told you probably in 6th grade that I wanted to work in Major League Baseball. Like that's how long it's been a dream of mine. But you just don't really know. Like you don't really tell people because you're kind of embarrassed because at that point it kind of seems like a fairy tale. Like, oh, you don't work in baseball. Like, that's for like people that go to Yale and Harvard and that stuff. But that's not the case. Not the case at all. But it's really cool to kind of look back on that. But I think once I hit the runway when I started working for the athletic department and kind of getting my feet wet within communications and realizing that it was something that was possible and just kind of taking it each step at a time. And for better or worse, kind of realizing that, so I have this amazing opportunity that I'm participating in right now, but then what's next? Like, what am I doing this for? Like, when I was at the athletic department, it was the internship with the NFL, and then after that, or with the Bengals, and then after that, I wanted the major league internship as well. So it's just kind of always like keeping in mind what's next, which it's both a blessing and a curse because you want to enjoy the moment and enjoy what you have right now, but there always is that kind of what's next mentality that I had that I think it benefited me, but I do wish that I could have enjoyed and kind of taken in the environment that I had in the past in both regards. So
that said, I would have to think if you're not there, you got to be close to kind of your dream position.
Yeah, I mean, actually, so when I met my team here, the other guys, they asked me, they're like, so what's your goal in baseball? Do you want to work up and be like a vice president or director of a department? And I was like, I mean, that'd be nice, but truthfully, I have not thought about that right now because it is kind of a bizarre feeling when you've worked like 5, 6, however long I worked to be here. Like, once you actually get to this point and you're sitting in this seat, like I don't know, this is where I've been fighting to get for so long that I haven't really thought about where I want to be in the future. Just because, like I told you before, I just want to enjoy it right now and just kind of get the experience that I can here, and then let everything unfold as it is. But I'm super happy and super content with where I'm at right now.
So did you get to participate in last week's parade?
I actually did. I did. I was in I was not a player bus by any means, but they had like some trolleys that followed behind. It was kind of cool. We were cruising through downtown and everything. Fans were going crazy, and it was a really cool day to be a part of.
So what's the you probably don't have much of an off season, but now that the official season's over, what is the off season like for you?
Yeah, so it's a lot of the media guide. I think I believe I'll be in charge of the media guide. I won't do it all by myself by any means, but the media guide I think our media guide is about 450 pages long. Not everything needs to be edited every year. A lot of it's just historical sections and such, but just putting that all together and writing player biographies for the next upcoming season's media guide essentially is going to take a decent amount of work. And right now we're kind of cleaning up from the postseason because we work 3 weeks a month longer than a lot of other teams. I mean, obviously that's how we love it, but yeah, so just kind of preparing for the next season. And I think the media guide is honestly the number one priority in the off season.
Now, did you get to travel with the team this year, or were you pretty much focused on home?
I didn't right now, and I'm not exactly sure how that's going to look in the future. There's a chance that I get to go to spring training next season, but I'm not entirely sure. We haven't talked about any of that because we're still fresh off the World Series right now. But I did not travel for work this last season, but the team actually did fly out, front office staff that wanted to go to Houston for the first 2 games. So I was in Houston for World Series games 1 and 2.
Okay. So the next time I see you, will you have a nice World Series ring on your finger?
It depends on when you see me, I guess. I'm still not 100% certain that I'm going to be getting a ring, but I would love it if that was the case. I mean, obviously, I was here for I've been here for a little over 2 months at this point, so it's just a matter of how the organization wants to handle it. I see it both ways. If they choose to give me a ring, I will wear it proudly, but if they don't, I understand.
Well, Mitch, I was going through my files, and I found one of your last resumes that you shared with me, and that was always a thing I really valued about you because I came to this position fall of 2015. I think that was your freshman year, and yeah, you were always looking for feedback, and I wish all the students were like that because you wanted to make sure you're on the right track and how to phrase this and what kind of experience should I need. So, yeah, I know you definitely worked hard for this moment, and yeah, kudos to you.
I appreciate that. Yeah, the resume is always an important first impression. So, I mean, you want to keep in mind what's on your resume and both how it looks. I think sometimes the design is almost as important as the content. That's not true in every case, but because you got to do good work to put lines on that paper. But I mean, I credit to you for putting me in good good situations there and catching the typos and rewording things. And I appreciate all your help.
Well, Mitch, I don't know if you got a new championship mug there, but I always like to give a little toast to our KU alums and cheers to their careers. So, Mitch, cheers to your careers with the Braves.
Cheers to you.
Nice. I like the nice World Series mugs. I bet that's pretty fresh.
It is pretty fresh. I bought it two days ago. Still got the sticker on it. But, yeah, cheers to you, Steve.
All right. Thanks for your time, Mitch. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Take care. Rock Chalk.